I like to record discussions just for just looking back on it and learning and it's kind of just archival kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Kind of cool
I
too,
haven't been following, I
huh?
haven't been following politics too closely, so I may not be as useful as Kyle.
Oh, we could talk about other stuff. That was just with Kyle. I wanted to kind of pick his brain because he's on the other side of the discussion.
I don't know if he's so much on the other side. He's on a different corner, but not the other side.
Well, like the liberal side of it, because
He's Kyle.
yeah.
Yeah.
What you're a libertarian, right?
Yeah. I believe
Um,
in freedom. That's usually how I answer that question.
yeah, and liberty. I think liberty is the more important distinction there.
Yeah. But that comes with freedom, doesn't
Um, yes, yes and no, I guess.
it?
um,
Well, it depends on which side you represent. Being free or needing protection.
yeah, because having the liberty to do things and having the freedom to do things are defined differently.
They are. They are. It's all a matter of whether or not you believe in standing up for yourself or having somebody else stand up for you.
Right. What I was discussing with Kyle was what happened in the shitstorm of the of current situations. I was getting everybody's side on it and what they thought about it.
Yeah. Uh, nah. I was really trying to ignore Anita if you didn't notice in all those discussions.
Yeah. I just it's like I said, and like how a lot of people say that have these type of discussions live. It's really hard to evaluate and see how genuine someone is text based, especially on Facebook.
Well, especially because you could never read sarcasm in text, right? But I think she was serious.
Yeah, I mean, um, as far as social deviancy goes, she's pretty good at it.
Problem is sexism right now. Sexism is very rife, and right now, not to sound like a masculinist, because I am not, feminism has gone a little too far.
Yeah.
To a point where, like, well, at least based on what I'm seeing and all of the discussions that everybody has, it's just like men are there to serve women now.
Oh yeah, they want. Well, a lot of what I've been seeing, what I've been hearing, all these videos I've been watching is feminism wants to use men as a tool for itself.
Well, feminism in its strictest sense is just equality for women, right? Which I'm all for. I think
Yes.
it's
Well,
really
that's
awesome.
yes. I do believe that. You can also use the same definition for egalitarianism.
And masculinism, if you really want to go that far. Though most masculinists I've ever talked to are just sexist assholes.
What do you mean, like MRAs and shit?
Yeah.
Which who do you? Not to name out names, but all the MRAs that I've listened to um, don't really seem to be too sexist. It's just they just want to advocate to the awareness of men's rights and men's issues.
Yeah, but nobody's going to recognize that in this day and age.
Well, that's their problem. They're trying to find the solution to that because the awareness is drawing thin.
Yeah, well, really what it boils down to is relationships, because if you were to exclude women from your relationships, it's really not an issue, right? It's when you put them in relationships that it becomes an issue because there's the expectation, right, where the man has a certain purpose and the woman has a certain purpose. It's come to a point where it's like uh, women don't want to be treated like women, as we'll go back to like the 50s or 60s stereotype. but at the same time they expect men to do all of the same things that they did back then, right? Like
Oh,
take you out to dinner.
chivalry and shit.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's that, and then there's also like applying law and going further into like a liberal authoritarian view where these college campus students are advocating for the establishment to like silence people.
Yeah, but that goes back into censorship, and that's just everybody's sensitive, right? Everybody
Yeah,
has, they go back to this point where it's just like, oh, hey, like this is how I was raised, this is what I believe, and then, everybody else was raised their own way, so everybody has their own expectation. And really what you need to do is just wipe expectation off the table and remember that, you know, everything needs to be approached unbiased. Every situation needs to be seen, for its own right. And that's
yeah, and
something I think that everybody really struggles with.
yeah. Well, I was speaking towards that with Kyle, and I tried to tell him I try to take the most unbiased view and the most objective view with every discussion I have with everybody as much as possible. Is
Which is good, probably impossible, right?
well,
Like
yeah,
you could never do that, right? You would need to be a robot to actually do that. You come from where you come from, and everybody else comes from where they come from, and you have your beliefs, they have their beliefs, we all have our own ideals.
yeah,
It's a matter of sorting all of that out.
yeah. Well, we have to. There's a compromise. There needs to be compromise.
Yeah, but I don't know if you've realized, but most people aren't willing to compromise.
Yes, I'm more of an optimistic towards the issue than most people.
Yeah, you could like kind of what I was trying to tell you before, just in the text-based realm. Where I was telling you, it was just let it go. Like you have to remember, like if you approach some random group in the some kind of public atmosphere, and you were just like stood right in front of them, you're like that opinion's valid, but I don't agree, and they're just gonna look at you like you're a crazy person and be like, oh, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like
Oh
you
yeah,
can't
but
disagree.
I think something that was overlooked when, especially with what happened, is everything I was saying wasn't really provocative. It was basically like statistic based and fact based, and people took offense to it so much because they had to question their own beliefs, and it was just challenging so much to their beliefs that they got so mad at it that they had no other option but to become violent and
Yeah, but that doesn't matter though. I think that's what you're really struggling with, is it really doesn't matter because to those people it made perfect sense to them. To you, obviously, it didn't make sense at all, right?
what
And
sending a message like that personally to someone else, like going that far.
yeah, I mean, they could say they're trolling, they say this or that, but they were just personally attacking you because they don't agree with you, and the next best thing for them is I'm right, he's a stupid piece of shit, so I'm just gonna say what I want to say, and they'll just take it for what it is.
Yeah.
And since they were, a women coming from the point of view that they're coming from, it's the way it will be seen, it's the way it will be heard and processed, and they can bandwagon, grab as many friends as they can, report it, and then you'll get banned, and they won't. It's just how it works. That's
Yeah, I
why
mean
that's
that.
why you have to avoid certain people and just stay away from that.
Yeah, I mean I've learned. Like I said to other friends, it was a learning experience. No wisdom gained is bad wisdom. So moving forward.
Assuming you're not in prison, right?
What? What?
I mean, assuming you don't get thrown in prison. Obviously, that
Oh,
wouldn't happen in this case, but uh, bad things do happen to good people.
yeah. I mean, I've had my experience in being locked up, so
Yeah, it is what it is.
yeah.
Obviously,
Um,
the opinion is not heard, at least not properly.
oh yeah. Um, And I think the viewpoint of discussing like really important issues over Facebook is generally a bad idea. I think
Uh, yeah,
um, I do like to stir the pot like I said to you earlier, like I'll have like one really offensive post each year. I do it each year. You've
Well,
seen it.
I have more than one, trust me. It's just you have to cater to your audience, you know. You have to
Yeah,
remember who you've got connected to you and who are linked together and all this odd social media.
right. Last year or years past, it was religion. This year, it's fucking feminism and shit.
Speaking of which, I've been really getting tired of all of the Rich's anti-atheist posts. That's just
Anti-atheist or anti-Christian?
anti-Christian. Sorry, I'm like I said,
It's all good.
yeah,
Yeah, man. Like, uh, you can. It's just like the bias is just seething from him.
yeah, and I'm like, I haven't even attacked any of his arguments directly, but at the same time, like, just like some of the stuff is just like, here is bias. This is how you're presenting it. Please be aware of it, and then just kind of like walk away, you know?
Yeah, like he said, you may have some bias. I thought that was kind of. Oh man. Yeah, just trying to equate like modern Islam with Christianity is that notion is just so ridiculous.
Well, especially since where I come from, it's bothersome because I come from a place where it's like you don't judge other people, right? You just you do what you can to be a good person on your own, which is kind of the general message I receive, at least.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, his
Like,
notion, like I said, if you want to kind of dissect it a little bit, his notion that Christianity and the other religions are or Islam is just as evil or equally evil as Christianity and some other ones in today's age. And I was like, yeah, really, dude? Like, what are you not seeing here?
yeah, well, you know what's funny is I don't know who Gary Rich is. I'm assuming that's his pops, but he kind of chimed in and kind of corrected him, and I appreciated that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. His parentals. His I think yeah. Usually, if they're parents that are more political, they'll have a better understanding and a more wholesome view on things.
Well, I think it takes a certain level of wisdom and understanding, and it's like you have to interact with certain people before you just draw like this
Right.
judgment.
Well,
These men,
I don't know if you saw it, but when Alex was saying that he wants people to stick to their literal interpretations of the Bible in every instance, and I was like, dude, you wouldn't be saying that if you're in up standing right next to an Islamist and saying that type of stuff. It's like, I want you to take your book literally, do this and that. It says kill people, do this, do that. I was like, dude, you don't want that when you're up against these people. Out,
you'll get your
uh,
head chopped off.
right? It's like how he couldn't even see past that. It was like, dude, you can't advocate for that kind of thing.
No, no. Well, that's where independent thought and being intelligent and understanding things as you see them is important, right?
Yeah,
Like, I think even with Islam, like, much of that is skewed, though the research I've done into that is limited because, well, I've just been too busy for such things to go delve into Islam and then understand everything about the religion. But,
yeah,
I mean, I imagine if you actually read it for what it was and you were an intelligent person, you wouldn't go around chopping people's heads off because they didn't believe what you believed. They would just, you know, strive to be better and do good things, which is generally the philosophy I kind of see from most religion, if not all.
yeah.
So, I
I
mean,
think yeah, it's just these extremists that focus on the more violent points of the Quran, and they have violent points in the Bible, the Old Testament in particular. But obviously people don't. apply it to life anymore.
Well, there are certain audiences, like kind of going back when people are kind of attacking Leviticus and Deuteronomy. I mean, Leviticus was meant for those that came from that tribe that were like specially selected priests, and those were the rules they had to apply to themselves, but nobody else. At least that's the way I understand it. And it's like,
Yeah, and that's what I think that Gary guy was saying too, right?
yeah, for people to actually use that as fuel against like a certain religion, it just seems so silly to me because there are specific audiences for specific books, and to just take them literally and apply them to everybody is just, I don't believe that's
Yeah,
what was intended, though, I can't really, I try not to claim that I am a know-it-all or I understand everything about everything.
oh, you're not omnipotent.
Yeah, I know. That's something, that's a skill I've yet to possess, so
You'll get there sooner or later.
maybe someday.
You are Nick, so I'm not feeding into your ego at all.
It's okay. It's as large as it needs to be, I guess.
Um, yeah, I have some history in quoting Leviticus too, without realizing the actual context of it and the application. And yeah, people spew that stuff all the time.
I mean, it's easy. It's kind of something you see with some of the more modern, anti-religious audience, but it's too easy and it's ignorant. And I mean, I would like to speak to an atheist that is also a theologian that has kind of studied all of this and has a good understanding of why everything's been written and why everything's said the way it's said.
You
And
know,
it's a very rare argument, if not impossible. It's kind of like the unicorn of anti-religious.
you
Probably
know,
because most people that are educated just kind of avoid that discussion, because they understand and have a little thing called respect.
yeah. You know who else is really good to talk to about religion is
Hmm. I
because
guess I could see those two developing
yeah,
together.
yeah, because well, the linguists they study language and the application and the you know how the text in the Bible and the, how they were translated and copied and all that. They actually dig into that kind of stuff and try to look for errors and uh, wrong wrong translation and mistranslation. They actually try to fix them and try to understand what the actual original text was, and then try to make a more clear understanding of what the original text was trying to say and how it was translated and all that. It was actually really informative. I have a couple of videos on that if you're interested.
Yeah, something I heard that always piqued my interest, though again, it's hard for me to care that much to really look into it.
God,
It's
I can only help you so much.
but well, I'm busy with, you know, important things that
Oh,
don't start
yeah.
this fall.
I don't. I'm not busy with important things. Is that what
Well,
that, is that the implication there?
this weird, linguist cross with the Old Testament and this and that, and stuff that you don't think about on a day-to-day basis. But it's like,
Oh yeah, I'm kind of
I did,
I'm kind of autistic about my research, I guess.
but I did hear at some point that let's say just like the book of Genesis, where they say like the world was created in 7 days, right?
Hmm.
And if you take a more theistic approach and you look at like the linguistics about it, I guess this was translated from some Latin text. And I guess the word they had used that was translated today could also be translated to like epoch, like a period of time. So there's like 7 different times in which the world was created. So
Okay, yeah. So there's just a mistranslation there.
yeah, where it could be like, the world was created and then the oceans and then life moved up into onto land. But this could all be describing evolution, bringing
Right.
this to like deism, where it's just somebody just kind of like poking and prodding into this system, and then these things just kind of came to be based on, the way the whole kind of pool was set up.
Yeah,
From goo to the little microbes to the, you know, to the small multicellular organisms to the land-based animals and blah 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 blah.
yeah.
You know, that where
Uh,
it's more describing evolution, where it's not so much describing the 7-day magic thing that happened.
yeah. Um, there's also when one of the videos I was watching and kind of studying is they go into the hell idea and Jesus believing in hell and uh, the part where he's kind of like fantasizing of how people suffer in hell and how that was basically an addition to the Bible. It wasn't actually in the original text.
Yeah, that hell is always something that is interesting to me because I'm somebody who, at least, I don't want to make like crazy claims, but I feel like I'm well versed in the Bible and that I've read it more than once and kind of have a good understanding of each of the books. And I've never really seen too much about hell there. I've heard like I can't even recall the book, but there's like the sections where they talk about being with God and having like the gnashing of teeth, but it never really talks directly about any kind of hell. It's more like being without God, where there's like this clear separation where it's like you are somebody that is with good God or you're somebody that's without God, but it's not like there's this heaven and hell. It's just more like you're somewhere where you're kind of matched and then there's somewhere where you're just kind of lost and on your own.
Hmm.
And
Do you do you think let's see how I could put this together. Do you think God's kind of conceptual? It's not really physical.
I mean, it's an interesting question, but I would say, yeah, not physical. If physical, maybe in some other physical dimension that's unknown to us, but that's kind of a more interesting discussion that would delve into mathematics if you really wanted to have it. But I
Well, it's
think,
gonna it'll definitely go over my head, but you can definitely say whatever you want. It'll be interesting to get out, you know. This
yeah,
type of mathematics application isn't really discussed too often. I haven't seen it. So if you do want to delve into it, that's completely fine. Just don't expect me to respond in an intelligent way.
we don't need to delve too far, but I mean, there, okay. I guess the simplest way for me to describe it is if we go beyond the dimensions that we know, it's very easy to contain what we see and what we know, you know, on a very base level. And there, this is difficult. um, oh, let me see. If you were to think of like a four-dimensional cube, it's very easy to contain that entire cube within itself, like in a small area.
Right.
Um, within lower dimensions, and the possibilities, if you were to look at it from like kind of higher dimensional levels, is just there's so many levels of interaction and so many ways of seeing things that it's hard for me to put limitations on it. Let's just put it that way.
Hmm.
And for us to try to understand something, in this set level of dimensions, it seems silly to me. It seems beyond our even understanding or comprehension to apply such base laws to it. But we're confined by what we know. We're in this paradigm, and this is what we run with.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to describe it, on higher levels.
Yeah. Do you think philosophy is better at describing it?
No, because it just uses what we know. It uses what we understand, but it's like,
Well, more towards theorizing instead of just fact based.
no, it's the same shit. Because the theory is developed based on the facts, right?
Well, yeah. Well, like strict theory, not like
Well, I'm not thinking about somebody that's just like, and then,
just
the
rambling.
yeah, they're just making up random shit that. make sense in their crazy, crazy world. I don't really know.
So what is there like 10 supposed dimensions or something?
11 is a good number right now.
11. Did they add one in recently?
No, 11 for a while.
Okay, I thought I heard 10 a while back. I was like, oh, they added one in, huh?
If you like relaxing back into the, what is it, that string theory?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess like the 11th dimension is like literally just everything.
Well, I think dimensions are a little
What?
odd to people, but if you think about it, if you were to describe something more than 3 dimensions, it wouldn't be that difficult, right? You could apply like heat and color to things, right? That
Yeah.
would be extra dimensions. So I wouldn't think it was too crazy to have 11 dimensions, though.
Yeah, but the idea is like the 11th dimension is just literally everything.
Yeah, spatially speaking, it gets pretty uh, interesting. Uh, but that's something that's it's difficult to even. I mean, how do you even imagine such a thing, right?
Well, I think a more interesting, I think you and I talked about this a long time ago, was the conception of nothing and what how we perceive nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I think nothing and infinity are very much the same, at least in my mind.
Yeah.
If you think of indeterminate form, right, you have infinite, infinite over infinite, or you have an infinite over zero. There's so many ways to express it, but it's like they're intermingled where you have infinity and then you have nothing.
Yeah. They're like cousins, I guess.
Yeah, it's an odd thing because thinking and trying to describe nothing is very much the same as describing infinite, right?
Yeah. You can the idea is there. It's just the understanding and like the
Well, you
especially
could go back to like grade school. It's like I have 2 apples, you have 2 apples. If we both ate 2 apples, how many would we have left? 0 apples, right? But at the same point, it's like
well, at that point
there's
they would
me and
become
you, and
shit.
then
So
there's
they would still
none
be
of
something.
us, right? Well, let's try not to go there. But
Yeah.
let's say we had like, it was me and you, and then there was nothing. What is left, right? It's just like empty space. What is
It's just
this?
hard because
This
the even the
is
idea of nothing is something. So
yeah. Well, it
it
takes
just
something to make nothing,
yeah,
right?
it's just like a rabbit hole and like it's just redundancy. It
Yeah.
just doesn't the more you think about it, the harder it becomes. Like honestly, that's the way I think about it.
Well, personally, I like to just generalize it, but maybe that's because I'm an engineer, right? You have like nothing, you have an infinity, and those are mostly just you use them in some kind of expression where it's just like, oh, well, there's the limit at this case, and there's a limit at that case, and this is the answer, right? But
Yeah.
it's mostly because you're looking at limits, you're not necessarily looking at the exact point that you're trying to reach.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What else is there? Get
Uh,
into see. Do you do you have any opinion about the immigration in Europe?
uh, I think it's a bad thing, and not for the Trump reasons. I am very against brain drain, where it's like, oh, I have this area, it's beautiful, come here, and if you're intelligent, make this area even more better. It's like everybody is fleeing this area, right? But
Hmm.
why? Is it okay to leave your home? Is it okay to leave and take your family so that you're safe? or should you actually stand and fight and make that area as good as you want it to be? I think the biggest issue that the Middle East has right now is brain drain. They're literally circular, it's this really awful cycle where something bad happens, everybody that's smart or wants a better life leaves and goes somewhere better.
Hmm.
Area just kind of stagnates because all of the people that want better or looking for progress just leave. They don't stay, they don't try to make things better. And I understand from a humanitarian standpoint, like, yeah, that makes perfect sense, right? They just want to survive. They want to, everybody wants good things for themselves and their families, but all the West is doing right now is stealing the best of their kind and leaving everybody else to just kind of wallow in their own filth.
Hmm.
I
Do
don't think that's right.
what?
I don't think that's right because, right, we'll take all of their scientists, we'll take all of their thinkers, and they'll become part of our society.
In some cases, we'll take the terrorists.
Yeah, but I think that's less of an issue than you actually think it is, right? Because it's very easy for police or military to just kind of be like, "Oh, these guys are bad," and either arrest them or just kill them or execute them on the spot
Well,
as they like.
it's actually pretty contextual because you've heard the Cologne, what happened in Cologne, right?
Yeah, but that's more of an issue when you mix a backward society with a more civilized society.
Yeah.
Uh, to put it
Well,
bluntly.
it's like they don't document these people and they just let them in, like no questions. And it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, well, that's bureaucrats being dumb, as
Yeah.
they're very good at being. But uh, that's I feel that's less of an issue as it is the brain drain that we're allowing. Is we're halting progress in one area and then reaping the benefits in a richer area.
Yeah. Well, I would kind of be devil's advocate and say that I guess it's based on relevancy. You could say that, but I guarantee you that the Germans in that area are more interested in Germany and their populace are what's happening with them, and in Sweden too. Sweden has a rise of rape of like 1,400% or something. Um,
Yeah, but I heard Sweden's working very hard to reject most of those immigrants these days.
oh, now, yeah, it's a backlash now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's Sweden. They're very xenophobic, but
They weren't for a while, man.
yeah, they always were. They've been xenophobic since before World War II. They There's a reason they went neutral in World War II because they knew they were chilling.
Yeah, that's true. Uh,
Yeah,
Kurt.
they weren't anti-war so much as they knew that nobody could fuck with them,
Yeah.
and they had a
Well,
strong military. So
yeah. But again, they had to allow the immigrants in for the rape percentage to boost that high.
yeah, and I feel a lot of that is I would blame much of that acceptance on the fact that, in this day and age with the internet and the way everybody is on the internet, is you have to accept everybody and this is awesome and this is
Oh, like
that.
politically being like oh my God, politically correct.
Yeah, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I call it retarded, but that's another story.
uh, yeah.
Yeah,
More
it's just
a lot more blunt than I would say it, but yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't care too much about being politically correct. I'll call it as it is.
Yeah.
You
Yes,
know,
and that's true. There is a culture there, and you see that how it can affect a whole society in a way, you know.
yeah, but the problem I'm seeing right now is, and this is a bit of a digression, but it's like now you've come to a point where like people are pausing before they do a good deed to film it to show everybody they're doing a good deed. And are you
Oh,
really doing a good deed at that point, or are you just
oh the
trying to? yourself. You know.
Yeah, how genuine these people are.
Yeah. It's like, oh, this is an opportunity to do some good. Quick, somebody film me. I'm gonna do some good. As opposed to, oh shit, this person's in trouble. I need to help them.
Fuck, that shit is so annoying. I see it all the time on Facebook. It's like, oh look, I'm helping this bum. Everybody praise me.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh, go jerk off.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
leave me.
it. If you were a good person, people would know it. You wouldn't have to tell them. Continually remind them of the fact.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that's really bothering me about this being politically correct and accepting everybody. Because, like, yeah, I understand that's a thing, right? We need to be good people, and we need to be men, and we need to women as well. Same shit. But like, we need to we need to do good. We need to be mature, and we need to help everybody, especially when we're in a place of power where we can do that. But the issue I'm seeing right now is people are doing it more for self promotion.
Yeah, it's kind of a narcissistic kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of a problem because now it's making good deeds not good.
Yeah, you have to kind of question what they're
The
what they're trying.
motive.
Yeah, question their motives about shit, and even when they're doing a really good thing, it's just like, well, everybody applaud me, everybody praise me, everybody, give me kudos.
Is somebody pulling you out of a burning car with a, you know, but right before they decided to yank you out, hit the record button and with one hand they're dragging you and the other hand they're holding the camera. Like, is that really a good deed? Is
Yeah.
it?
Well, yeah, they want to be recognized.
Yeah, but if that's really where your heart's at, would you really be thinking about hitting the record button if you're gonna be just pulling somebody out of a car and it's really not gonna mean anything to you other than the fact that you caught it on camera, you know?
Yeah. People have really lost themselves. I guess they're uh, they're their inner self. It's just like I'd rather do things to make me feel good about it, not everybody's opinion of me.
I mean, it's at a point where it's like, if you don't die for what you did, I don't even care.
Yeah.
I need to see some martyrdom before it really counts.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's like I see it all the time too. It's either people posting about it or just making a video of it, and it's like, cool, you did something nice. That's what we're supposed to do. Come on.
Yeah, everybody wants that pat on the back.
Yeah.
By the way, Travis says hi.
Hi,
He's,
Travis.
he's listening from afar.
Yeah.
His house burned down, by the way.
What?
Yeah,
I did
he
not.
he moved into a house and then it burned down.
What I had no idea.
Yeah, not even a week in this house and it burned down.
How the fuck did it burn down?
I don't know. He was in an apartment. Some crackheads living on the, underneath or some shit.
Oh, it was because of cooking.
So they say. So
Oh,
they
okay.
say. Yeah, apparently it was the microwave.
Yeah, what were they putting in the microwave? Fucking aluminum or something?
Who knows? Hopefully it was a kitty wrapped in aluminum.
Oh, it's much better.
Just to insult whoever's listening.
Right. We're gonna make sure you're offended, okay? We're gonna get to that point.
In case I haven't bothered you yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't said anything offensive yet. Just wait.
Yep. Uh,
Well then,
but I kind of want to track back a little bit. What is it exactly talking about that was so bothersome and like kind of got you guys both at ends? Because I really didn't go that deep to like see what she was saying because the little bit I did read, I was just like, oh, I don't even care what she has to say.
you kind of broke up at the beginning there. What was your question?
What was the argument between yourself and Anita that was really so bothersome?
Actually, me and Anita weren't arguing. she messaged me after the fact. I was arguing with the Alex chick.
And what was it about?
It's basically about race, and I was telling her that if she that I don't apply race to these statistics and these crime rates or whatever. I apply it to individually based. Like these are individual problems. It's not just a whole race in general.
That that's good. I agree with that.
Yeah, and she doesn't. And that was the whole thing.
Yeah, that's called racism in itself.
Yeah, I was calling. That's why I was calling her a racist, and she wasn't disagreeing with it. I was like, and I proved it to her. I was like, holding that position in that regard makes you a racist. Like, and then of course her other liberal friend wasn't really approving of my message, and she sent me that message. So that's how that all started.
Yeah, but I think there's a point where she was trolling you. Is that what you want? No, you're vape. Oh, it's all the way over there, bro. Hey, sup, dude?
So, dude.
Uh, Sup, dude? Sup, dude?
So, dude.
Man, sup, dude?
So, so, dude.
Ah.
I want that shit posted on my wall too, motherfucker.
I'll link you to all the ones I find.
Thank you. Sub is life.
That shit's hilarious.
It is. It's good.
Yeah, it may have been
Well,
a troll. It
the
may have been
problem,
a troll.
the problem I've seen with racism lately is like it's kind of like gone too far, where it's like, there's the struggle of being black, which I could see,
I
but
mean, yes. I
I
mean,
also
I
the
agree with some
gender
of it, but
minorities out there, but it's like at the same time, it's like I understand cops are dicks and they're like very, very judgmental
right.
and they'll shoot somebody, but at the same time, it's like, if you put your hands up, which is what most people do when cops point a gun at them,
Hmm.
it's not a big problem with it with all the cameras around. It's like the people that are just kind of indignant and they're just like, nah, I'm not listening to you.
Well, yeah.
I'm I mean,
If you
go ahead.
if you look into these the main reasons these Black Lives Matter people went into protest, like the main issues like the Michael Brown and the what was the other one? The other kid, especially the Michael Brown case. um, if you investigated the case, Michael Brown was fleeing a scene after committing theft on a store, and then he was caught in the middle of the street. And then the cop told him to stop. And this is all uh, first eyewitness based. So these people they're giving their testimonies that actually saw what happened. Um, and this Michael Brown went after the cop. And the reason why he was shot and killed is because the police officer felt that his life was being threatened.
Yeah, which is understandable in that case, though. There are other cases that are a little bit more upsetting, like what the hell is it?
I mean,
But
yeah,
it,
I don't disagree that there are some cases that is just completely true that it's a police brutality and corruption in some ways, but not I don't think in the extent that they say it is.
but there's also like I'm trying to think of the name of the the kid. There was a younger boy who was shot with like a toy gun. Tamir Rice, that's his
Oh,
name.
like in the Walmart?
No, no, he was at like a park with his sister,
Wow.
and the
Oh,
cops literally just like drove up, came out of their car shooting, killed this little kid, and then like pointed the guns at the sister, who's like, I mean, obviously at this point, he's just like frantic, like,
right.
holy shit, how could you shoot my little brother when he's just fucking around, at a park, like,
Yeah,
and
that
they're just being, you know, dominant, claiming to be Aryan. There's just gnarly, gnarly cops being
yeah.
assholes.
Yeah, I
They
do. And
kill. boy. Like there is a big difference between these cases, and it's like obviously the cops treated this kid a different way because he was black. It's like you never see a little white kid at a park with a little toy alien blaster like getting gunned down by the cops, right? Because mm, you know they're racist and it happens.
Yeah, and I do,
And
I do.
right now, separating the two, it's like, is this person just a big asshole that's robbing a liquor store and then trying to beat the shit out of a cop with his gun? Or is there a little kid playing with a toy gun and they just shoot the shit out of him because he's a little black kid and they
Yeah,
don't like what he's doing? It's like, ugh.
I think some of the problem with the movement, the Black Lives Movement too, is they pick and choose the kind of cherry pick too, the wrong cases. If it was that case, then yeah, I could definitely see um, sort of a backlash towards that. But and then another thing is they don't see the wrongdoings in their own community. They're so biased that they can't see like that one time where what was it, gang members were I don't know if you know about the story, but um, they were driving in a neighborhood and they decided to shoot up some it may have been random house or it could have been gang affiliated, but they shot a house and some little black girl was studying. I think it was either, yeah, maybe studying for college. I'm not really sure exactly what the exact details are, but yeah, she was studying for school and she died uh, for no reason at all. She was just gunned down in her home, safe, supposed to be safe, and these black guys, either gang members or just some random event, shot at the house and killed her.
Yeah. But I find a lot of these issues are to blame on the people that make the complaints, and they need to start doing investigations on these people. Like, people call the cops a lot, and they tell these kind of like wild stories about people, and they'll tell the cops like, oh, there's this person waving this gun around, right? And then the cops will show up, but they'll have the expectation of like, oh, there's somebody with a gun, and they're gonna be waving it around when I get there, right?
Right.
And like, I almost feel like we should hold these people accountable. Like, if you report a crime, like, chill the fuck out. Like, if somebody's not shooting at you, don't be talking about a gun that's being waved at you.
Yeah.
Unless it's very clear to you. And when I mean very clear, like you identified it as such, and the threat was very real. Where it's like somebody's like in their house, look out a window, and they're like, "Oh, there's a little black kid with this little thing in his hand. It must be a gun. I'm gonna call the cops."
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. I guess it's a little towards this hysteria kind of shit. Like, um,
Yeah.
it's just like they have this narrative that's just constantly being pounded into everybody's head, and they always go for the impulsive reaction instead of the rational one.
Yeah, but if we're gonna be adults, people need to get the fuck over that, or they need to actually face some
I think
repercussions.
another problem is the fact that
Get Travis over here because I can't hear him.
Travis, come here.
I think another problem is the fact that nobody really gets the full story. Let's be honest. You can record and chop and cut and paste whatever the fuck you want of
Right.
whatever you record. And
Hmm.
so when something makes it onto the internet and everybody goes all up in arms over some bullshit, how do you know? You don't know what happened before you started recording the cop being aggressive towards whoever it may be. How do I know that that motherfucker didn't provoke the cop for an hour and a half?
Right.
You know,
That's
like
it's
you,
this.
like there is a point where like that's why like that whole like the cop taking that girl down in the school. I get it. He's had past history, but like this bitch is being disrespectful. If he told you to get up and leave the class, if you're not going to do it, sorry, you're going to be put in handcuffs.
Well,
No, fuck that. Nobody has respect anymore. That's the fucking problem. You can't smack a kid on the ass because, oh, no, that might hurt the child. How about fucking not? I got a belt when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Disrespect cops.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of believe in corporal punishment a little bit, but that's a different discussion.
No, it's just
Yeah. I think he was in
sack up.
regards. What was that?
Oh,
People need
he's
to
just
sack
saying
up.
people need to sack up.
Yeah, in regards to that cop in the classroom.
It's
I
offensive. Stop. No, shelter me.
Wait, no, actually, there's something very interesting I saw the other day.
Fucking pussies,
I
dude.
was with one of my coworkers. I just happened to be, running an errand with him, and he was picking up his kid at this private school that his kid was at. And we looked over, and it was like a jungle gym or something, and there was a kid climbing on it, but another kid was like pulling on his leg, like trying to make him move off.
yeah.
And this is when all the parents are showing up to pick up their kids, and the what do you call them now? The yard duty or whatever
Yeah.
was like, "Stop pulling on his leg. That's not a good thing. Like you're gonna make him fall. He's gonna get hurt." Didn't
Mhm.
really do anything other than that. Just said that.
Oh
And
God.
then one of the parents walked up, was like, "Oh great, now my kid's gonna have to live with the fact they were just told not to do something." I was like, "What the fuck? Fuck
Yeah.
you, little kid. Wait,
Yeah.
slap that kid around. Like the fuck? Seems a little
Yeah.
Giant.
Um, more towards that. Let's say that girl in the classroom with the police officer. I would say it was a little rough, but
It was.
um, but I wouldn't completely say it was unnecessary because when a police officer tells you to do something, you do it. Like,
You better fucking do it.
Yeah.
like,
It's
like
pretty
what is
self-explanatory, and I
what?
feel like everybody knows how that works. So if you
Yeah,
want
like
a little cunt,
there's no question there.
you act like a cunt, you're gonna get slapped around like one.
Right. It's like they have this mentality of, oh, nothing's gonna happen. I can do whatever I want, because this and this and this. It's like, well, you have that mentality, and that kind of shit's gonna happen.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey Nick, I'm living out of a duffel bag in your house right now.
Nice.
This is so
What happens when your house burns down?
I know. Ah.
That sucks.
Right?
The only fire I'm experienced in is fucking brush fires.
Well, just think, it could be a house fire.
You could have prevented that. You could have prevented that that heroin fire, Travis.
Oh, shit. Let's not rub salt in the wound. Anyways, I'm getting pretty tired. I'm probably gonna let you go, Rich.
All right, man. Well, it was good talking with you and getting this kind of stuff out.
Of course, we'll talk soon.
Cool. Well, yeah, we'll have a good night and enjoy the rest of your night, I guess.
Hey, I know you
Later on,
don't
man.
pray, but pray for me, huh?
Yeah, pray for
Yeah,
Travis.
I'll pray for you.
Free Travis and his burned down home.
Yeah, I'll send you some good prayer. I'll send you some good prayers tonight. Hope you feel it in kind of your crotch area.
Oh, baby girl.
Later on.
Later,
Later.
dude.